Hey, what's up YouTube? In this video, I'll be showing you how to make your very own modern house. I have also decorated the inside for you, but you'll be getting a better look at that later in the video. Here are all of the materials that you will need to make your modern house. Please do make sure that you have access to all those materials and enough of them as well. And now that we have all of that stuff, we can get started. So, the first thing that we have to do in making our house is place a row of 8 blocks of quartz extending up from the ground. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We then want to extend that 8th block to the right by 7 using quartz slabs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We then want to place a grey concrete, 1 on top, 3 to the right, 1, 2, 3. We then want to go down by 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We then want to place 2 blocks of quartz in front of this 5th block. 1, 2. And that is perfect. Might not look perfect, but trust me when I tell you, this is a good shape. We then want to extend the grey concretes down to the ground. So that is the set of grey concretes on the right, and this is the set of grey concretes on the left there, all the way down to the ground. What we also want to do is we want to take the top 2 corners of our grey concrete, which are, of course, these 2 blocks, and we want to extend them each backwards by 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and the other one as well. I'm quite confident that that is a row of 12, so I'm just going to extend it backwards and just join it across like such. What I am then going to do is extend each one of these sides of the grey concretes down to the ground, so to make the classic modern house shape, which is of course this. But what we also want to do beyond this is we want to take the block of quartz that we have all the way up at the front here. We want to extend it backwards using quartz slabs, and we actually want to connect it. It's going to be a little bit tricky. We want to connect it in the same way that we did on the front, as you can see over there. And we can join this down to the ground as well. We'll have to use a mixture of slabs, and then we can use the block of quartz, and it will join all the way down to the ground in the exact same manner. So, just like this. What we then want to do is we want to take the quartz slabs that we can see here, right? We have it joined together using quartz slabs. Well, we want to extend those quartz slabs through this shape. So through the grey concrete, we actually want to place a row of 1, 2, 3 quartz slabs, which we can extend through and then forwards, and then we can join it back. And we don't want to turn that slab into a block. So we want to have something which should look like this, which is hopefully seeming quite simple so far. Underneath all of the quartz slabs, we actually want to leave half a row's gap, and then we want to place another layer of quartz slabs. This is going to allow us to have a really cool effect later on. So leaving half a row's gap everywhere that we have the slabs, except on this left side here. So over here, we don't necessarily need quartz slabs whatsoever, but we want to have the double layer of quartz slabs absolutely everywhere else. So that will give us this effect right here, which is great. Let's fill in the left side of the build. Let's get some momentum going. So the left side of the build we can completely fill in using block of quartz. This house has many windows, lots of windows, a huge amount of windows. If you want to add more, I do believe that there is actually perhaps one on this side when I actually do the interior, then feel free to add more. Otherwise, I would keep things blank because it may discourage you from placing certain things against the wall if you have glass pane, because it creates that really weird effect that I don't really quite like. So now that we have done this, ladies and gentlemen, the next thing that we are going to do is we want to, on the front of the build, come all the way down to the bottom where we first started, this block of quartz here. We want to move 1 row back, and we want to place a row of 2 glass pane extending right, so 1, 2. We then want to place a grey concrete, and then 4 glass panes, so 1, 2, 3, 4. We then want to place a grey concrete on the end. we want to add a row of grey concrete behind each row of grey concrete that we have just here on the left and right. As a matter of fact, something that you can do is you can join this right side of the build front to back together using the grey concrete, this entire right side. We have filled in the left and right sides of the builds. Doesn't mean that you can't add windows later, but again, I wanted to place stuff against the walls for the interior that isn't conducive to windows. So this is what we have right now. The grey concrete that we placed in between these windows can actually be extended upwards. You can extend it all the way up until it just sits behind the quartz slab that we have at the top, and you can even add a row of grey concrete that just covers up the gap in between, and that's the cool effect that I was talking about earlier. The glass panes want to be 3 rows high, with then a row of block of quartz above them. So if you can imagine, we've got the first row of pane, 2, 3, and then we want to have block of quartz just in between all of the rest of the grey concrete, and then that kind of frames things for you, doesn't it? So what I mean by that is then that kind of shows you, so glass is going to go below the block of quartz area, and it's actually going to be easier to do this from the inside, and then the glass pane is extended up through the block of quartz, and it will join all the way up to the top. So essentially the windows at the top are like 2.5 rows, but not really, they're still 3. It's just that you can only see 2.5 panes, but that's the sort of nice effect that we get from doing that. This entire right side here, we can just fill in between the quartz slabs. We can fill in with grey concrete like this, and again we get that really nice effect that I'm rather fond of. On the back of the build, we want to come and do a similar thing. So, on the back of the build, we want to once again, well actually we'll do it in reverse. So on the back of the build, we have this row of grey concrete, don't we? It's the only row of grey concrete that's here actually. And we want to extend a row inwards from it, like this. We're then going to take the bottom of this row right here, and we're going to place a row of 4 glass pane going right. So 1, 2, 3, 4. We're then going to place a grey concrete and then 2 more glass pane like this. What we can then do is, once more, we can place a row of grey concrete that extends all the way up to the top, and it can extend left and right, and it can cover up those gaps that we have in the quartz slabs. We then want to place 2 additional rows of glass pane, 1, 2 on top of the previous, and then we can place block of quartz in between and on top of all of the glass. What I'm then going to recommend that you do is on the right side here, I'm going to recommend that you fill in the right side paneling using grey concrete. You can use grey concrete or glass. The reason that I'm using grey concrete will become apparent when I show you the inside a little bit later on. It's very simple, but you'll see why. And what I'm then going to do is I'm going to add an extra row of grey just up at the top here, just to add a sort of little different effect than we have on the front of the build. What can we do beyond this? Well, we can fill all of this in using blue stained glass pane. So all of this, all the remaining window space, blue stain, glass pane, just like this. Nailed it. Okay, what else do we want to do? Well, the block of quartz that we have in between these windows is actually where the actual floor is on the inside. So like this is the lower floor where we have these windows. The split is where the second floor begins, and everywhere in between is all of the empty space that we will actually have to walk around our build. So if you want, you can persist that quartz block through the center of the build like this, and also on the front, and that might help you a little bit in what we're going to be doing next. So now that we have this, we also want to, at the top of the build here, I'm going to fill the top middle part of the build here in using glass block, and I'm actually going to do the same as well. I'm going to first of all add a row of grey concrete underneath the inside here, so nothing's kind of like just floating, and then we're going to place blue stained glass block in this position here, and this will provide all of the necessary light that I think that we will need for the second floor until it becomes nighttime, but we do have lanterns anyway, so this is what I want to do to the top. If you wanted to be a little bit crazy, you could add glass here, which would actually lighten up this what's going to be a little hallway later, but you are more than welcome to just leave it as is. So what do we want to do next? I want to add, and it's a very simple thing, grey concrete underneath the first row of glass on the front and back parts of the builds like this. And I also want to add a little bit of glass pane, just to kind of show that this is kind of like a door. You could use proper doors, but I kind of like the idea of having open doors on the front and back of the house, kind of like this, and also at the base of the house too. Just kind of like half open doors, kind of like this, using glass pane. I really like that effect. We're going to have the same thing down below. The doors are just going to be one row inwards. As I said, feel free to use physical doors if you do so wish. I mean, that's completely up to you. I quite like that. That's the sort of effect I'm going for. Feel free to change it. That's completely up to you. Next big thing with the house is we want to place block of quartz all the way around the house, and we at least want a row of 2. So what I mean by this is, right, on the front of the build we already have it. We have a row of 2 block of quartz that extends in front of the house. On the right side of the house we want the same thing. We want a row of 2 like this. But the deal is we actually want it going all the way around. So all the way around the house we want at least, and we're actually going to change this on the right and back sides, we want at least a row of 2 block of quartz that extends all the way around the house in a balcony-like fashion, in a walkway-like fashion. We'll be able to walk around our entire house on the second floor. We'll be able to get up to the second floor via a set of ladders that we are going to be placing. They're not ladders, they're stairs, but you know, same sort of thing, I guess. And this is what we want to have, and that might look a little bit silly now, it might look a little bit weird, but it's going to make a lot more sense when we take this right side, we extend it 1 more row outwards. We place a row of block of quartz on top of it, and then we connect the entire right side down to the ground. So just like this, we take the entire side, we extend it all the way down to the ground. So we have something which should look like this. There we go. That makes a lot more sense, doesn't it? It looks a little bit better. On the left side, we have stairs. Now we take the 2 end blocks and we simply place quartz stairs extending from the 2 end blocks, and we just place a row of quartz stairs that slowly extends all the way down to the ground in this sort of fashion here. My bad, we have another set first, and eventually it's going to be easiest if you place the stairs first connecting down to the ground, and then you'll easily be able to place the upside down ones underneath them. And there we go. That adds even more context to the house. It looks even better. You can add a row of blue stained glass pane that kind of just sits on the outside like this as a bit of a barrier, as a bit of a balcony. On the back part of the house, I'm going to recommend that you add an extra row of block of quartz here on this left side, add an extra row of block of quartz here as well, and you have a similar thing. So place blue stained glass pane all the way around to the side here. You could even, if you wanted to, add a bit of a wall if you did so choose, so maybe like to here or so, if you did want that, just to kind of frame things a little bit. When it comes to the back of the house, because the back of the house is rather simple, I'm going to recommend that you extend the block of quartz that we have here on the right hand side. I recommend that you extend it forwards like this, just next to that there window, and we are going to dig a trench in between the 2 rows of block of quartz like this. We're going to place blue stained glass pane inside, and then you've got kind of like a nice back area, and you can even add a little bit of oak leaves, and we can add some oak wood planks to the floor a little bit later on. But that's pretty much the back mostly done. I mean, there's not too much more that we have going on here. When it comes to the front of the house, there is a little bit more going on. So on the front of the house, I want you to, next to these stairs, as they hit the ground, I want you to place a row of leaves that extends from the right side of the stairs all the way back and hits the house. I also want a row of leaves that kind of just sits in front of the windows that we have at the base. I want on the right hand side to place a row of quartz slabs. The row of quartz slabs are going to extend from the right side, and they're going to extend 2 rows forwards, 1, 2, and then we're going to extend these slabs all the way over to the left, and they are going to extend to the left and leave a gap of 2 between the leaves, or they line up with the grey concrete that we have over there. What we are then able to do is dig a nice little footpath. The footpath is going to be 2 rows wide. It's going to extend in front of the stairs, extend right, extend back towards the house, extend all the way over to the right. It's going to go all the way around the side of the house leading to the back. The back will also have oak wood planks as a floor, but not only that, the floor on the inside is also going to be oak planks. So as you can see, it's very, very simple. So just want to have something which should look like this. And as I said, you can imagine that it extends all the way back, and we're gonna do that off recording, but we'll knock out all the grass and we'll replace it. The pool is very simple. So we're gonna dig 2 rows down. 2 rows down will allow us to refloor the base of the pool, and it will allow us to then add the water on top. The only deal is, what do we do with the blocks that are left unearthed that aren't getting filled in with the glazed terracotta? Very simple, actually. We're going to place whatever material is on top of it underneath. You could even place the glazed terracotta. However, underneath the quartz, it just seems so fitting to me that we should add more quartz. It also adds kind of a nice frame. It also adds another colour. I mean, instead of just like the glazed, it's almost as if there is a barrier there, and I quite like it. What else do we have to do? That's it. All we have to do is add water and lanterns. You don't even have to add the lanterns. This is a completely personal choice. It just so happened that I thought that the entrance looked a tad bit dark when I made this build. You don't need them whatsoever. I added them here and here, just to demonstrate that that is perhaps the main entrance. What will I be doing now? As you see, we have actually 100% fully completed the outside. Almost. I have to rip up the entire grass floor behind me, replace it with oak wood planks, and I have to completely install a second floor using block of quartz. However, it seems a little silly just to disappear and do those 2 things, so I'm going to do those 2 things and decorate the inside of the house for you so you've got an idea of what sort of room that you're going to be dealing with. I'll be back in just a moment once I've accomplished this, but you'd best believe it, guys, we have pretty much completed this build. Well done. So this is what your house will look like once it has been 100% fully completed, ladies and gentlemen. As you can see, not much has changed with the outside, despite the fact that we have now added the oak wood planks as a base floor to the lower half of the build. But on the inside, you'll notice that I have decorated it in a modern fashion. So downstairs we have a kitchen, dining / living room area. It's all open plan and all built together. So depending upon what style you want to go for, whether it is survival or a more realistic, if you want to call it that, sort of approach, then both work very, very well with this build. I'm really happy with how this turned out. I feel as though that we've got a lot in a very, very small amount of space. If we come all the way to the second story, and we just have to climb these stairs here and we can work our way in, it's a little bit different. I don't think we have as much, but we have a bedroom / little library attached to it. We have a hallway which takes us out the back. We've got a couple of framed pictures, but we also have a bathroom as well. So we have a bath, we have a toilet, we have perhaps a place to keep our towels, we have units, we have a sink, everything that we could possibly need. So there isn't anything that this house is really lacking at all, ladies and gentlemen. It is just ready for you to be decorated, and no matter which way you do decide to do it, whether it's in a modern or kind of like a, and again, air quotes, realistic style, then I think that this will be an awesome house for you. That's it. I do hope that you guys enjoyed this tutorial. If you did, please do remember to hit that like button, as it really helps me and the channel out very, very much. If you're new around here, please consider subscribing and clicking that little bell next to the subscription button. That'll ensure that you get all my stuff sent directly to your sub box. And if you want to make anything else by me, check out the card system description below in the top of the comment section for more. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. I love you all very much, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.